What's up guys, Chris here from Mainely Mesh. Welcome to the first ever tutorial series on hands-on tutorials of 12D goalie stringing for an STX Eclipse. I know that I use Grizzly in this video, but it actually works just as well for ECM and ECM Black. But so this is a 12D pattern for the STX Eclipse. Hope you guys enjoy. Already some post-production things I can think of that I want to add for the next one, but let me know what you guys think at the end of this video. So, got my piece of Grizzly mesh, I've got my Eclipse, I've got some stringing materials down there, and going to be taking you through how I string my Eclipses. So what you're going to want to do after you take the Grizzly mesh out of the package is you're going to find the first 11 diamond row. So it's just kind of like the 9 diamond row on a piece of field mesh. You have an 11 diamond row and a 12 diamond row. So we've got the 11 diamond row here. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. I don't spend as much time stretching out the goalie mesh before I put it in the pocket. It's a lot of breaking in that you can do afterwards, in my opinion. So I'm going to take that 11 diamond row. We're going to fold it in half. Now we are going to take our piece of Grizzly string. We are also going to fold this piece of Grizzly string in half. So I fold it in half and I kind of make a pinch at the end. It's just a way to identify what the middle point of the string is. So what we're going to be doing here when I'm looking at a goalie head, I'm going to try to identify where these stringing holes are. So on the shield, you're actually going to have two sidewall holes or two scoop holes hugging the middle of the stick. I like the stringing holes on the Eclipse more because it has one in the center. What that's going to allow us to do is make a nice 7 diamond top string. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this middle diamond. It's got 5 on one side, 5 on the other. 6th diamond in the middle. Going to take my piece of Grizzly string and run it up to either side of the center diamond. So you can see I've got one of these pieces to the left side of the center bridge and one of these strings to the right side of the center bridge. I'm going to run it up, leaving a little bit of space at the end, and I'm going to come from the back side of the scoop through and feed it right down this loop. Okay? If I pull on them both evenly as I'm coming down, you're going to see I'm going to make a nice, tight hitch knot right in the middle. So that's just, it's a little tricky. Takes a few tries just to get the first hitch right, but take your time. And this is the base of your top string. From here, we're going to be tying these diamonds just like I would tie a normal field top string. If you need to see how to do that, check out one of the tutorials in our tutorial section. But I'm going to walk you through it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to work from the inside out, alternating sides each time. So I have my left string in my hand. I'm going to go underneath this little mesh bridge to the next diamond. I'm going to go down through the scoop, down to the right side of this top mesh crown bridge, whatever, multiple words, out to the right side like I'm making an interlock. Right, so I've made my first little interlock here. Now I'm going to finish the hitch by going up to the left side of that mesh bridge, in through the back side of the scoop, and going down through that loop there. So I've made another hitch. From here, I'm going to alternate to the right side. This is going to allow us to keep the top string as even as possible. So I'm going to go down to the left side of the mesh bridge, up to the right side of the mesh bridge, down through this little loop, finishing off that hitch. And now from here I'm going to keep on alternating until I get to 3 hitches on each side. Also notice that I'm using the kind of wider, flatter top string holes. That is purely for spacing reasons, and you'll see that in a second. Okay, I've reached lucky number 7. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bunching these next two diamonds to the first kind of sidewall scoop hole. So there's this big hole here. I'm going to feed my top string through that hole without going underneath this mesh bridge. So I'm going out that hole. On the back side, I'm going to feed this string down through that 7th diamond, out through the sidewall hole again. I'm going to be bunching this side. I'm going to be bunching these two rows just like I were tying off the top string of a field stick. Okay, so I've looped it down once. I'm going to loop it down again and out that side. Tie it off with just the way I usually tie off is I tie one overhand knot and then I tie another one right underneath it to kind of help secure everything in tight. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. So you can see now that's left me with a very, very even 7 diamond top string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 1 in the middle with 3 on each side. Now we're going to move on to these sidewalls.